Hi, good evening, you guys. This is Criteria Marie of Scholar Media, Scholar Global, and now SkolerTalk. I just want to say good evening to you guys. Happy Monday. I know it's just 7:20. I always give people a few minutes to sign on, to log on. Even myself, I had a little Wi-Fi issue, but I figured out something. So hopefully, guys, let me know if my connection is functioning, if it's not going through. Please let me know if you guys are able to see me or hear me clearly. Hey, Adrian. Hey, Tanisha. Can you guys see me and then hear me clearly? I'm just looking at my Wi-Fi signal. I'm not sure if it's going to definitely hold out. It's saying my connection is weak. I'm just going to try something else here. See, hey, Maria. Okay, let me see. I'm going to see if I can come and sign back on, okay? Let me see. I'm going to come back on, and I'm going to see if I can start the Facebook Live over again, okay? I'll be right back. Hey, you guys. Now, I did a little something. I don't know if I did it right, but is it not fuzzy anymore? Is it a little better than it was before? Just let me know, because I'm just trying to test out these different Wi-Fi signals. You know how these cable companies do, trying to switch up things, trying to make it harder for you, trying to make you go and get all this extra equipment and things. $90 here and there is for you to pay $9.99 a month, just so that you can get these extra things that comes with the equipment with Wi-Fi. But thank you guys for joining in on me. Thank you Tanisha and Adrian for letting me know, and Kyle as well, that everything is coming in clear now. I'm sorry for the interruption. I still have to test these things out, try to figure these things to see what's the best Wi-Fi I should be using for these videos, because I don't want to get cut off with you guys. I don't want to be interrupted again, because I like interacting with all of you. I hope everyone, again, had a nice Monday today. I know most of us have just gotten off from work or got home from work a little earlier and finally got to relax yourself, fix something to eat. Again, y'all know I love to eat. So I was in there, mom cooking or frying fried chicken and stuff. I don't know what else I should have with it. Some biscuits or mashed potatoes. But again, thank you guys for coming out, supporting me. Hey, Javon Jones, he's on here. Thank you, my friend, for joining as well. I'm just getting started with the topic tonight. I just want to give everyone time to come on, log on. I was having some technical difficulties earlier, a few minutes ago, but so far I think that from what you guys are saying, that I sound clear and you guys can see me. I know things look fuzzy. It's not my afro. I know I have a fuzzy head on top, but I didn't want that to distract you guys from the fuzziness going on the computer. Hey, DC, I appreciate you guys again for coming on. If you weren't aware, my topic for tonight was shacking up, or as some people like to say, cohabitation, or living with a significant other before marriage. So I actually had some people I noticed, hey mom, what's up? I noticed on my other post, some people started to comment on, and again, I want everyone to come on here to comment. It makes it more interactive. Other people get to see your opinions and thoughts, and that's what I want. I want everyone to come on and share their thoughts, and feel free, to do so without being judged, because I think it's very, very important to be able to express how you feel. I mean, I have my way of expressing things. I like to be obviously on video and talking to people as well as in person. So as I'm getting started now, I see more people are coming on. Hey, Sammy. Again, my topic is shacking up before marriage. I hate to use that term, but I mean, it's a term that is commonly used. I mean, I use it all the time, but I'll give my opinion in a few minutes. But before I do these things, I try to do a little bit of research before I come on. I don't want it to just be just my opinion on here. I try to throw in little extra tidbits here to get these brain waves flowing and moving and things like that. Yes, Javon, I do think it is important, but I don't want to get into that just yet. Please feel free to comment, but I just want to go into some of these things that I found online earlier today. I actually went on this website. The website is called yourtango.com. Look them up. They have very interesting topics on there. Hey, Corey, what's up with you? They actually had an article that I looked up The article was called 6 Things to Consider Before Shacking Up, of course. And, they discuss, of course, pros and cons of shacking up in a marriage. So, yes, Javon. Javon says, you don't know someone until you live with them. Yes, I very, very much agree. And the first thing that they brought up, they actually, like I said, they have 6 things to consider. So, excuse me, the first one that they mention is for you to think about, is marriage your ultimate goal? And now, of course, this is if you're seeing someone and you're starting to get to that serious level. They're saying that the first thing you should think about between the two of you, if that's your goal, is your ultimate goal is to get marriage. And if that is your ultimate goal, you need to think about expectations. And I know we all hate that word. Actually, I don't want to say hate. Some people do not like the word expectations. It tends to be, the male species most of the time doesn't like the word expectations. But I think that it's very important, and that's one of the things they mention before you get married. You need to know each other's expectations and also a time frame towards marriage. You need to be able to sit down and write how long you two expect to be together before you get married. Okay, Tanisha says, I see nothing wrong with living with your significant other before marriage. Yes. And Kyle says, it's cool to shack up with somebody before marriage just to get to know them for sure first. And yes to all of you guys. I totally agree with all of you. And I wonder, if you guys are agreeing with these 6 points as well, because they all kind of tie in, and I kind of like how they brought things together, whoever wrote this article. The second thing is, and I think you guys will agree, hey Christopher, the second thing that they mention is discover your differences, because when you are shacking up with someone or you are cohabitating with this person, they consider it some sort of emotional journey of discovering your differences. And it's true, because when you are dating someone and you don't live with them, there's a whole different set of rules that you don't see versus when you are living with them. And I do see the emotional aspect of that. Hey Riz, what's going on with you? Kyle says you don't have to get married first to shack up with them. Yes, I agree. Adrian says, how long do you think it should be before the person moves in? Now, see, in my opinion, I mean, of course, that to me, I feel like that depends on the seriousness of the relationship. And I feel like, obviously, I don't think within like a 2 or 3 month period, which I have seen people do that, within a matter of a few months, jump in. For me, because I enjoy my independence, which is one of their other points, one of their 6 points that they mentioned. I enjoy my independence. So for me, I have to have that living separately part for a while. For me, I would say maybe a year. But then again, I mean, if I fall in love with someone, I mean, I may sit up here and say, hey, 2 months myself and just jump in with them. But I do think that I do need to have that independence part, that individuality first before I decide to jump in with someone. It has to be some considerable time before I jump into the living part, and especially before I jump into the marriage part. So hopefully I help answer your question. And what do you think? How long do you Adrian, think that you should wait before you move in? Tanisha says, yes, Quadri, I agree. Hey, Tanisha. So we're just here. I'm just discussing some 6 points from this website called yourtangle.com. They brought up 6 things to consider before you decide to shack up or cohabitate or live with your significant other. And wow, the third point that they mentioned, this is something I kind of talk about with other friends. The ideas of cleanliness. Chores. They supposedly say chores is one of the biggest reasons why some marriages don't work, or why some relationships actually break up, more so than major life disasters. People can't decide who's supposed to do chores when or what. And they suggest that, make it fun. You guys should work together, make it fun, so that it's not, some foreign, task that you put off to later, and then there's a big fight and fuss that comes with that. Tanisha says dating and living together are 2 totally different things. Yes, that's true, but if you are becoming serious with that person, most likely the next step in dating after considerable amount of time is to live together. To me, that's ideally what most people want. I know for me, if I'm with someone for like I said, a year at least, or let's just say maybe 2 years, that eventually at some point if we got it together by then and we decide that we are going to try to go further, I personally feel like I do need to make that step. But see, that's a big anxious for me. Excuse me. It's a lot of anxiety that comes with that, deciding to jump, because I personally never lived with a guy. I've done the whole sleeping over, all that, all that stuff, but I haven't done the whole actually living together. So that would be a challenge for me. Okay, Kyle says, good point. I agree with you, but then again, we really should think first before shacking up with somebody. They might got habits that we can't stand. And that's what I'm going through, the whole discovering your differences, the emotional journey, learning your guys' cleaning habits, because everyone has different ways of doing these. Even within family, with people you live with, you may put your socks one way and they may do it another way, do laundry a different way. They might clean the dishes another way. Someone uses Ajax, someone uses something else. These are all little things that people actually don't think about. But before you live with that person, you really do need to start figuring this out. And of course, when you get in the house with them, it's kind of too late. And now it's like, okay, now we have to figure out how we can, cooperate and work together. And to me, I think that's very important, learning how to cooperate, working together, whether you're, living together with your partner or not. Okay, let me see. Adrian says it should be a year. Okay, yes. But she said she did it in 6 months because we were both mature enough to be in each other's space under the same roof. But we have been together for 1 year and 3 months. See, now there I understand. Like I said, it depends on the type of relationship. Some people really do need that individual space before they jump into the living together part. So I do think that's, specific to each relationship. But I do think around a year or so, between 1 year and 2 years, is what most couples will say. Hey, Luther, shout out to Luther Get Guap. He's one of my sponsors. I'm working with him as well, so please support him. GetGuap.net. Hey, Tanisha. Tanisha Sims says, what if you're living in 2 different states and have 2 separate lives with children? Then what? I have not come across that. If you saw my last Scholar Talk, I discussed the whole being childless and dating someone with children. So I hope you go back and watch that as well, because I brought up the whole dilemma of learning how, to deal with someone, even possibly living with that person with children, because that's a whole nother dilemma. But to me, actually, I feel like, anything is possible. I feel like if you do, want to be together, you do see marriage in your future, that I feel like between the two of you, you are going to work that out. Personally, I don't necessarily believe in long distance relationships, period, whether there's children or not involved. But I have seen people do it. To me, at some point, I feel like you two need to obviously come together in one household, because that's one thing we're missing, is everyone separate, all this separation going on. Especially the Black community, we need us to try to coincide, cohabitat, because I personally know what it's like not to have that. So it's very important to have those two together. Tanisha says she agrees with Cal. Yay, Adrian. Thank you, Malik, for joining in. Faraz, Malik says it all depends on the dynamics of the relationship. Tanisha says I'm going to be facing that soon. I actually believe, Tanisha, from watching your post, that you're a very confident woman. I know that you'll be able to work that out too as well. Malik says quality over quantity. Yes, Malik, what exactly do you mean by that? Because that can go different ways too. I mean, I kind of get what you're saying, but I want to hear your opinion of that. Adrian Baldwin says I'm experiencing that too with the children. Yeah, but he sees them on a regular basis and to spend time with both of us. And that's another thing. A number of men don't know how to balance that relationship with the children versus the lady in their life, the current lady in their life. And again, that kind of goes back to my last Scholar Talk with the men and the baby mother of their children, situation, because sometimes it can just be too much. Again, you don't want to deal with the person, and then you're like, okay, do I want to live with this person? Before you even get to the living part, do you even want to date this person? And if you make it past the dating part, then you have to think about the whole cohabitation and living together, and it's just a whole another dilemma, which is why I was going through these certain points. There are certain things that you should think about. It can't just be, I'm attracted to this person and we are lusting for each other, or we think that we're in love and we can just jump now and live together. because when you're jumping to live with this person, you are making a major life decision. And that goes into actually my next point, which is discussing financing. And of course, we all hear the stories of financing and the issues that can cause, not knowing this person's credit score, if they even have credit, and the whole debate of, well, you make more money than I make, then let's see how we can figure this out. And I do agree that you should base what's spent in the house based on percentages of income, and not just necessarily who makes what or not. Because if you try to divide it just evenly in half, between the two parties, someone is going to make more money than the other person. So I do think you should base what you spend based on each person's individual income that comes in the house. Now let me get back to reading what you guys wrote. Tanisha Samsberg says, I really love this guy. I know you meant love. You said that whether or not we have children or not. And that, to me, that's one of the most important aspects of this whole thing, is how you actually feel about the person. Before you move into this person's house, you do have to foresee that this is somebody that you are willing to commit yourself to. And I feel like that doesn't happen unless there are true feelings involved. It just can't be any old schmuck or lady off the street. Malik says, thank you. Kyle says, we gotta really be strong with the other person. Habits, that's right, and bullshit. But if we truly love them, then we can make it work no matter what. And I definitely know you're proof of that with your relationship. Tanisha, you're welcome. I'm still learning and getting things together, which is why I put these video posts up here, because I do want to hear you guys' opinion, because I always talk about my posts, the idea of marriage and children, and not that that's the ideal for every person, in their 30s, whatever on up, because it's not. It's just that for me personally is an issue, and I know that, like for you guys, that is something that you are currently facing. So hopefully, not just what I'm saying, but anyone else who like to, join in and comment to help each other out. I do want you guys here to help give advice to each other, because some of us have experienced these things very thoroughly. Some of us have yet to experience. Some of us will experience, and we don't realize that we're going to be experiencing this ourselves pretty soon. Malik said he wish he could speak. I am, that's my next step. I do want to have a platform where I can have you guys obviously come on and join with me. My idea is to have my own, obviously, TV station where I can have you guys as guests. But soon, I am saying this now, I'm putting it out there in the world. Soon I will have it that I'm going to have guests with me, talking with me back with you guys. So that will be the next step. I'm going to have someone else up here with me. I had someone actually suggest that recently, that he wants to come up here once in a while with me and say his things, because he's very strongly opinionated. So I do plan on doing that, and once I pass that step, then I'll be able to have an audience where I can have you guys come on and talk. Malik says you can be with someone for years and not know them. Yes, that's very true. And he says you can be with someone for a day and feel like you knew them all your life. It depends on what you share and how you work as a team. Yes, I really, really love that. Adrian says 50-50. Javon says finances are very tricky. Yeah. The whole finance thing, like I said, it's very important to actually know what the income is coming into your house, because you guys have all these expenses, cable, PSG, all these different things coming in. You do need to know. And some people don't want the other person to know what they're making. And I understand the privacy is that, especially if you've been single all your life and not your life, but for a long time, and you're not used to disclosing that. But if you're living with someone, it is very important that you are aware of what each other is bringing into the house in order to know what you can and can't afford. Hey Al, thank you for joining in. Tanisha, thank you so much for saying that. Keep up the good job. I appreciate you guys for coming on at all and being able to share your thoughts and opinions with me. Adrian says communication goes a long way when you're talking about future plans. Yes. Communication is always very important, but especially if you are shacking up with this particular person. Hey Montana, what's up? Thank you. Al says, girl, don't get me started. No, actually, I do want to kind of get you started. That's the whole point of doing these things, because like I said, I want people to be able to share their thoughts and opinions, because this is stuff that needs to be talked about. You know, shacking up always has its pros and cons to it, you know, as people discover, as you know, grow in your relationships with each other. So I do want people to come on and say how they feel. Kyle says finances really does play a big role in living together. You got to be financially good to be living together. Money makes the world go round, round, round. Yes, yes. Hey, Cliff, thank you for joining as well. Yes, that is the idea. As I mentioned earlier, I do want you guys to come on. So now you guys got my brain working for me to try to figure out ways to have you guys join in instead of just commenting. But this is, you know, this is the first step of the whole Scholar Talk thing. It's just seeing how, you know, things are working, seeing how people are interacting with me. But to get back to my 6 tips, I'm just going to go through the last 2 really fast. The 5th tip is time together. And this is, again, the 6 things you should do before you shack up with someone. And I think this is very important, too, because sometimes you live with a person, you're just used to them now. You take them for granted. You take their time and their presence for granted. And, you know, we do need to learn how to plan those special date nights. You have to try to keep the sexual and the romance still brewing, still keeping those 2 aspects still alive. And when you live with someone, you tend to just kind of, you know, I see them, you go to work and come back, and it just becomes routine. So I think that it's very important to plan those special night out, whether it's on the weekday or, you know, one weekend night. Try to separate that so that you guys can still keep the romance alive. Hey, Kiki, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Tanisha says communication and financial is always the biggest obstacles. And I mean, you hear this from married couples, but they're mentioning this as something that's important before you guys get into the shacking up or the cohabitation stage. And the last tip that this website gave for us that I'm using tonight is to keep your independence, saying that you need to be independently fulfilled. And I think that's very, very important. Of course, as a single person, I'm automatically independent. So that would be a challenge for me as well, is when, you know, once I get in a relationship, how am I able to keep my individual self, what the person probably was attracted to begin with, and vice versa. How do we keep those things alive? And they say happiness is the sexiest quality you can have. I actually believe having an afro is one of the sexiest qualities that you can have. Javon says, very important that both parties have their own space. Hey, Kiki. Hey, Boom. Yes. I agree very much with that. The individuality, you do need to learn how to keep your individual space, your individualism, period, in this life. One more thing I do want to add from their 6 tips before I go into the other religious aspect very quickly, is what happens when you break up, when you are living together. I don't know if anyone has any opinions on that, and not just divorce. I mean, just breaking up, period, before marriage, because you can be living with someone and break up with this person, and now you're trying to figure out, well, who's going to get the TV, who's going to get the furniture. And okay, Kiki says that's very important, even though we are one. Yes, we are individuals. I think that's very critical, whether you live with someone or not. I see a lot of couples get together and somehow, particularly the female, most of the time, she bases her happiness on being with that person. And it happens with men as well, but we all need to still keep that individual part, because that is what makes us who we are, you know. Hey, Kai, thank you for joining. Adrian says, my boyfriend's space is being in the living room playing PS4 or watching sports. So, yeah, I understand that. See, I'm actually a fan of PS4 and playing sports. So I kind of feel him. I feel him very much doing that type of stuff. Tanisha Sims says, how soon must a person get married before knowing that person? Tanisha, what exactly do you mean by that? Because like someone mentioned before, you can be with someone for years and still not know that person, or you can be with them for a day, as he mentioned, and feel like you know them your whole life. And that's actually something that I've been struggling with myself as well. Maybe someone else can give their opinion on here besides me, if you don't mind. Try to help Tanisha out as well. Hey, what's up, cuz? where it says keep receipts and records and claim your that is a very good idea. You don't hear people say that when they're living together. You just buy stuff together and no one keeps things. I keep my receipts because I'm in a habit of just keeping them anyway. So hopefully that, when I do get that cohabitation stage, I will be able to learn how to continue doing that. Javon says time limits is custom made to the couples. Yes, I very much agree. Hey Ashley, thank you for joining. Yvonne, thank you for joining as well. I don't even want to repeat what he just wrote. You guys can see what he wrote. Tiana says, I personally moved out speaking from experience. I didn't want any parts of anything we once shared together, but I don't know if other couples split what they bought. And again, I do think that is based on individuals. So shout out to you, my cousins, for coming on. Malik says, to me, living together is the same as marriage. Mine is the jewelry and contracts. Just like marriage, you should never move in with someone that you can't grow with. That's very true. And he discusses how you both can lose your jobs as well. Yeah. When that happens, that's just a whole nother ball game. I know what that's like just as a single person, how that can be. So I can imagine living together. He said jobs fall financially, but as long as they are working as a unit, that's right. You both are going to cooperate to rebuild what you lose. Sometimes expectation kills the dynamics. Yeah, but you do need to have those expectations in place, though. He says people may perceive a person one way, but it's disappointed when they don't meet up to your expectation. But if you sit through and don't actually develop expectations, how are you to know if this is someone that you ultimately want to be with? Because now you're talking marriage now. You're not talking just going out on a couple dates here and there. You're talking about spending your whole life together with this person, someone that you may plan to have children with, the whole financial issues that we just discussed. So I do think that you do need to have a list of expectations. I actually think that this is stuff that you should write down, the same as you're following this person, their chores and how they live their life in the house. You need to be writing down all your feelings, letting this person know how you're feeling. Okay, let me see. Adrian says, I say date for a year. Yeah. And from there, you should see when you want to get married. Yes, I agree with that as well. She said, I know someone that has been together for 10 years and just got engaged. Wow. You actually don't hear stories like that this often now, because people are always in such a rush to get to the ring, the marriage part, and they don't actually live together. So obviously by now you guys know that I agree with living together. I do think that you do need to cohabitate with this person, because as they say, you need to have a test run. That's how I feel. I feel like you do need to have a test run with this person before you jump in. But that's my opinion. My cousin Tiana says, me personally, I'm not going to be someone's girlfriend for 10 years. And see, that's where I'm at. I'm 31. I don't know if I can do the whole, like she said, 10 years and still being a girlfriend. Now, if we were, 18, 19 or something like that, a little baby like that, then maybe I might, even then I might not. But definitely not now in my 30s. Tanisha says, we're skipping the whole date thing and going straight to marriage. Now, I do believe that whether you're going into marriage or not, but if you see yourself serious with that person, that I do agree that you should live with a person. But again, as we talked about, I don't think you should rush either into cohabitating with that person. I do think if there needs to be some time limit, you do actually need to date this person before you decide to jump in. I was going to say jump into bed, but jump into a household with this person. I don't think that is something that should be taken lightly, because of the things that I just mentioned. You do need to know certain things, but I feel like it's not something to rush either. You actually have to know each other individually first before you jump into the house. Adrian says she agrees with Tiana. Tanisha says that as well. She says she's done with what she's done as well. Adrian says, true, I only want to get married one time only. And I'm in the same boat as you guys. I don't think it's something that you obviously want to do again, and that's why it's important to figure out certain things before you jump into the household. And again, I agree. I don't think I could go 10 years. I don't know if I can go 4 years with dating someone and still being the girlfriend, whether I live with you or not. But especially if I'm in the house with you all this time, cooking and cleaning, or you impregnate me and all these things like that. No, that's just not. I'm sorry. Now, I don't know if that's going to fly with too many women of quality, as someone mentioned before. I do want to add another point, and I don't want to really get religious or anything like that, but I do want to add a point that I did see from the Bible, from Corinthians. They wrote, well, the verse says, but if they cannot exercise self-control, they should marry. For it is better to marry than to burn with passion. And, when I read that, I understand the idea of self-control and, as they said, passion and things like that, and should get married. But on the other hand, I don't feel like you should get married just because you have that passion, you have a burning passion for someone. There are ways to self-control yourself, but I feel like if you do love that person, I don't feel like you should necessarily have to marry them just because you feel that certain way. I feel that you do need to have that shacking up stage. You have to have that dating stage, and you have to have that shacking up before you jump into marriage. Because I'm not about to just jump right into the marriage part of things without me having experience living with this person. Denisha says, preach, amen. Tiana says, I have a 5-year limit. I don't even know if I can do the 5-year limit now. Because, as you guys know, I want to have children too. And I'm just like, do I want to just be shacking up with this man for a number of years before that? I mean, I don't think I would last 5 years anyway. But I don't know. And it's just like, if I'm with you for 5 years and there's no thought of a marriage coming through, which goes back to my first point, is letting the other person know what you want. A lot of times we don't say what we want. We just like jump right into things, and we just expect the man or woman to know what it is that we want. But we have to tell them, do you want children? How many kids do you want? What type of house do you want? What type of credit score do you guys plan to have? All these things are important things. And even within a household, how do you want to have, the living room set up? All these little things affect relationships. And somehow we all just, jump right into it, except for that couple for 10 years. So Adrian says, my mom told me people should only get married if they want or plan on having children. I actually agree with that now. I really do, because that's a whole nother topic, children, without marriage. And I'm in that, not me personally, but I am a product of that, not being, well, you guys know what I mean. I don't want to say what the word is, but my parents weren't married. So I know what that situation's like. And not that it's necessarily the worst thing or the best thing, but I just know what that's like. But I do agree that marriage should not be talked about. You should not have the whole children thing and mixed up without marriage as a possibility. At least know that this is somebody that you can get married to if you are going to have or decide to have a child with them. Tiana says, you know how religious I am, and I agree. You need to at least live with a person. Lord, forgive me. And I very, very much agree with you, though. And it's hard because you do think about the Bible, whether you're a religious person or not. You do think about it, and it's like, okay, am I committing some sort of sin? But then I think about it, I'm just like, well, you probably are committing a number of sins, and you just don't realize that just happens to be the one that sticks out with people, shacking up, as they like to say. Religious folks like to call it shacking up. I like to say cohabitation, but it makes it sound not as bad as they try to make it seem. But who cares? We all gonna do what we want to do, what we feel is best for us. So Denisha says, go ahead, Marie, speak what's on your heart. Hey, cuz it's just hard because I have a number of friends and family who have done the whole shacking up thing, and to me, I see more pros in it versus cons in that situation, because I do feel like I need to know what it is that I'm marrying into. I cannot move in with a man and I don't know how he makes his bed up. I don't know. It's just little stuff like that. It's like, I look at, obviously this is not the most important thing, but if you are living with this person, you do have to learn to compromise and cooperate again with each other, have humility amongst each other, and that takes, it takes some practice, especially with me. I've been single for so long, and I worry if I ever get to that situation with someone, will I be able to handle those tiny, tiny differences, how we do different things in the house and stuff. So Tiana says, as my grandma say, you still shacking up with that boy. Yes, and that's another thing, God bless both my grandmothers. They're in heaven now. But I feel like if they were here, they would be saying that if I were, living with a guy, they would be looking at me and saying, what's going on? Are you pregnant? That would be one of the first things they would say. Watching me and seeing if I'm drinking and all that stuff. Kyle says, one of the worst fears about moving in together is that your significant other failed to tell your pet peeve. Yes, about themselves. And then you end up seeing it and be like, WTF, what have I got myself into? Yes, and that is, like I just said, is a fear of mine, not knowing. And, people will say, well, the only way to know is to get into the situation. But I feel like once I'm in the situation, I don't want to have to figure out how to get myself back out. And I will do that. If I can't live with you, I'm going to have to go, get my behind out. Tanisha says, I think I'm going to take my chance. I did so once before. Yeah, Tanisha, I feel like you definitely need to take your chance on love. It's so hard out here, the dating game, the dating world. If you find that person, whether they're out of state, whether there's children involved, I feel like you definitely need to take that step, because you never know. Every relationship, every circumstance is different. You might have that magic love right there that we all yearn to have. So I definitely feel like you need to take that step and see. Let me see. Ashley says, just a question. But what's the point of getting married if you already live with the person? The only difference I can really see is a contract. I feel like, and that's actually another point that I actually read up on. People feel like if you live with the person, you are kind of in a marriage state. It's just my opinion. I feel like I need to do that whole test run thing and seeing if I can live with this person, because I don't want to, honestly, I don't want to get married, be individual for 5 years. And there we honeymoon, and then we jump into the house together or apartment or whatever, and I'm just bombarded with all these differences that we have, and I'm just like shocked. Well, I want kids, or he doesn't want kids, or he does the house this way, or he makes less than what I thought, or more, and it's just a conflict. And that's as someone said, the fear is that you do need, in my opinion, to know certain things, and a lot of times you don't know these things until you live together. Sometimes when you got that whole individual thing, there's a number of things you don't see. And I'm not saying people lie and omit things, but they just naturally don't come out and say a number of things. But when you live together, even with parents or family members or friends, when you live together, you end up seeing a whole lot more of things. I'm sure even my mom knows a lot more about me than even my closest friends, simply from living in the house with me. So to me, I just feel like I need to, this is little things that I know I won't see that may bother me later on if I wait until I'm actually married to this person to find out. And I kind of want to know some of it before I jump into the marriage thing. And also another point I forgot to bring up, if part of your expectations, if you're living with this person just because you're trying to save money. Now you're kind of getting into like a roommate situation, but that's also another point I wanted to bring out. Some people just live together because they want to save money and they're trying to get their finances together, or they see other people moving in together. That I disagree with. I don't think that you should just live together just because you see other people living together, moving in. It's such a major decision in your life. Definitely something to take your time and think about. Tiana says, I need to know if he's nasty. If he has any fetishes hiding, items hiding around. Yes, I agree with that. How often he changes his toothbrush, I need to know. I'm sorry, yes. And that's one of my points, Ashley, is to actually know these things. You do need to really know how this person cleans, how they brush their teeth. The cleanliness is actually a very big point, along with the financing and expectations, knowing what each other wants and needs in life. Malik says it's a task. Nowadays, people have greener grass syndrome. Yeah, they really do. And I feel like if you live with that person and you find out that you are able to deal with all their flaws, that is a person you can stick with, that you won't have that greener grass syndrome that you're discussing. Adrian says some things are fixable. Yes, I very much agree with that. Malik says, I was married for 5 years. It failed. I was in a 10-year relationship, and that felt more like a marriage. Wow, that's a different, perspective, especially coming from someone who was married before. And like I said, I don't think that you should necessarily rush into, living together. But, of course, it depends on a relationship. Some people may, in 6 months, feel like they need to live together. Some people may go the whole 10 years before they jump into that. Me, I will be somewhere in between, preferably under 2 years. That's what I would say. But then again, I'm not in that situation yet. I mean, God knows if I meet someone tomorrow, how I may feel. He may have his own place and things, and later on, tell me to move in, and we work together, put our finances together, which would be great, because ideally I would love that, to be able to split things with someone and to be with someone that I plan to marry, not just cooling with or Netflixing and chilling with. Tiana says, well, my fiance and I have been together for 4 years, and we live together, and we're going to get married, and I want it. Oh, I know you want it. She said, for me, it's more than a contract. I'm doing right by God, and that's extremely important to me. Yes, and you definitely are. She gives motivational tips, and every Wednesday she has her talks as well. I haven't been coming on, but I need to, because I really do appreciate you and what you say. It does help keep me in check, Tiana, so I just want to let you know. Malik says, God is omnipresent, so God knew you was a unit once you chose to be together in the heart. The contract is from man, not from God. Wow, that's kind of getting deep there. But again, I do hear others say that. Hey, Wyatt, how you doing? Nice to see you joining us this evening. Ashley says, I'm glad to hear different opinions on this topic. It's good to know how others feel about this. I personally feel like if you really love this person, those little things that get on your nerves will be just that. Things that get on your nerves rather than the end of a relationship. Yeah, I do agree with that. I don't think that you should let these, obviously, little things, like I said, the bed and all that stuff, affect your relationship. But at the same time, as the article mentioned, it's the chores list that tends to break up relationships. People not knowing, who's supposed to do what chore at what time. Unfortunately, those little things can just get on your nerves to a point where you're just like, I don't need to deal with this person. You rather just pack up your stuff and go. And that's for some people. But then again, that shouldn't be the only reason why you're breaking up. It shouldn't just be that. There has to be obviously other things going on. Moving in with someone or not moving in with them shouldn't affect your relationship to that far of an extent. Let me see. Tiana says, it's definitely different to me because you give your heart to everyone in your relationship with. However, you don't marry all of them. And yeah, that's very true. I'm anxious to come to you guys, Tiana, your wedding as well. I'm already a bridesmaid in so many weddings, so I feel like I'm in that movie 27 Dresses, the black Katherine Heigl, always the bridesmaid. But again, my time will come, and before I even get there, I'm gonna have to deal with this situation, trying to figure out, do I want to live with someone? And I am very spiritual. I'm not necessarily a religious person, but I am a spiritual person. And, I do think about that, how does this look, all that stuff. But then again, I reflect and think about, well, how do I feel about this person? If I do plan on marrying him, if even the thought of it comes in my head, I feel like I do need to take the chance and live with him. And hopefully he's able to deal with me and my habits. Because it's not just about me dealing with his habits. He has to be able to deal with mine as well. Okay, Tiana says the invites are going out. Okay, coming up soon. December. I'm going to be looking forward to that. I actually have a wedding in April coming up, so it's good that it's a few months after that. Give us some time. Yes, save the date. I definitely will. All those 7, 17, I will definitely remember those lucky sevens. Definitely going to have that in mind. I appreciate you telling me that. Again, I appreciate you guys all coming on tonight with me. I'm going to have so many different topics. It's just that my first 3 topics happen to be relationships, because that's just what's been happening with people. I've been on Facebook and talking to friends, and it's just been a lot of dating issues going on. And it's not just women, it's men as well that's dealing with this. Malik says, my 10-year relationship, we moved in within the first month. Oh, wow. And he said they had sex on the first date, but we stayed together for 10 years. Wow, that's something. Well, let me finish reading the rest of his comment. My marriage was done opposite. We waited to get married, to move in, and we waited 6 months to have sex, but around 4 years we were signing divorce papers. Wow, that's really something to look at. Like you said, the polar opposites of those two situations. Hey, Sour Boy. Hey, babe. Thank you for coming on as well. Wow. And see, I'm just in the conflict of that, if I should wait. If I am with someone, if I should wait to move in. Does it really make a difference if you wait to move in or 6 months? Because there's a lot of stuff out there saying that cohabitation can lead to divorce. I don't know. I personally really don't necessarily think that, like I said, moving in with someone or not moving in with someone should greatly affect your relationship to that extent where if you are married, it's going to lead to divorce later on. I don't agree with that. But again, everyone has their own opinions. Tiana says this is good stuff. It's just something to think of because I come from a religious family too. So I definitely heard all the stories. I've had cousins come up to me and ask me, Quadi, my nickname is Quadi. People come up to me and they'll say, cousins, they'll be like, does this look bad to you? Does it look like we're shacking up? And they will use that term, but say it in a negative way. That's shacking up as a negative thing. But I don't personally, like I said, I don't think of it as a negative thing. I feel like I need to experience this person. And I don't mean that just like in a sexual way or nothing like that. I'll kind of live with him and do all this. I mean straight up just seeing how he lives, the financing issues especially. We need to know, what's going on with each other. Cleanliness. Those are two of the biggest things. And a number of people here mention that as well. Those are two big things that we need to know. And a lot of times you don't know these things until you live with that person. Everyone puts on a perfect image before you live with them. And then you live with this person, you're just like, wow, I know that how I slept or didn't sleep. It's really a difference between just sleeping over as a girlfriend or boyfriend versus living with that person. So, hey, yes, thank you. I appreciate it. Tiana says, yes, how is he with money? Responsibility is a must. It's just unbelievable, the situations that come up when you don't know how someone is with money. And I'm not saying, you've got to be with a rich man or woman. No, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just talking about regular, 45, K, income. How are you able to handle that? If you can't handle that correctly, how are you going to be able to handle, 100K or $500,000 income? You got to be able to take care of in-house, be able to take care of things here. And I'm actually going to have a whole other topic about income within a relationship. I kind of touched on it a little bit here about learning how to divide things up in a household based on income. But I have a number of other things as far as that goes. Dating someone with money or someone without money, all these different things that I have coming up. Adrian says money management. Yeah, that's something you should have as an individual person yourself, let alone when you're in a relationship with that person, because now you got it's a good thing because now you have the same bills, but it's divided up amongst two people. And as someone mentioned before, you have job loss, and that's the whole thing that comes into play. Are you able to hold it down for that person if either you or him or her loses the job? How are you guys able to handle that? And that's another reason why it's important to actually know what each person makes, each person's credit score, each person's FICO score. Do they have 401k at work? All these little things add up. I know we're young, but there's certain things that we still need to try to take care of. I can even go into life insurance, but that has nothing to do with that. But that is something that's actually important to know too. If you are living with this person and getting married, do they even have that? But Sour Boy says, I definitely think it has an impact on relationship, whether it's good or bad, especially from a personal space standpoint, right? Depending on how quick you move in. I live with my ex for 3 straight years? Yeah, for 3 straight years. And it does have its good and bad times. It all depends on the two people. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Definitely pros and cons to all of it, and it does vary based on the individual couples. Adrian says some people can't balance a checkbook. Yeah, I definitely know those type of people. And I was actually at work today trying to get my balances my bills together for the rest of the month of June. So if I'm living with someone, this is something him and I should be working on together if we could. Tiana says, I think all relationships have good and bad. Yes, I agree with that as well. It's just that things go to another level when you two decide to live together. Like, like I said, it's one thing we don't live together, working on the good and bad, but people are always in such a rush to just jump right into living together when they don't even know what's going on. They don't know nothing about the person's income, none of this stuff. And again, I don't want to make it seem like it's all about money. It's just that finance issues tends to be one of the biggest things that you hear couples discuss, especially married, obviously married couples. You have cheating and all those issues, but the finance thing amongst loyal couples tends to be a big issue that people deal with, and it's something you experience before you even get married. So I do believe in premarital counseling as well, and I actually think cohabitation and shacking up is actually part of premarital counseling to me. I feel like, because if you can't live together, then obviously you don't need to be married together. So I'm actually going to sign off, I think, in a few minutes from now, unless you guys have other opinions and thoughts you want to write. Oh, Malik has something. Tiana says, good must outweigh the bad. That's right. Nobody's perfect. We are all flawed. We got to be able to be there for flaws and all, and most importantly, desire to want to be here. And yeah, if you don't have the desire to be there, there's no point. You don't have the desire to, try to work on having children or living together forever. There is no point. And I actually feel like that's something you discover more when you are living with that person, because you may look at the person one way before you get married, and as soon as you get into the house, it's a whole different thing. Let me see. Malik says the Great Depression, people had nothing but themselves. That is a very, very good point. I actually feel like we are in another depression. It's not called, the Great Depression, but nowadays the way the economy is, you have the poor and you have the very, very rich. You don't have the middle class anymore, which is I think it's a very big issue here in America. So I feel like people are going through that in their own individual ways. Sourboy says, but these are things that you should know ahead of time. Yes, that's true. If you didn't know your man couldn't balance a checkbook, then that's on you. The getting to know a person stage is one of the best and most memorable parts of a relationship. Yeah, and that's why we said earlier that you do need to go through the dating part first before you jump in. But then there's the issue of, well, how long should you date and try to get to know the person before you decide to move in, because you're moving in to try to get to know the person even more. So that's the struggle there, when it's appropriate to actually move in with the person and figure out what's going on with them, and if you guys mesh well together, living together. Deanna says, absolutely, I agree, cuz, excuse me, I'm getting my mouth all twisted up. That's that sangria probably giving me. Malik says, love the eyes. Thank you. I have these big old chunky looking eyes trying to match with the afro and stuff here. No, I'm just kidding. But again, I appreciate you guys coming on each and every Monday at 7:20 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, cuz. I'm on here Facebook Live under my name, as you see, Quadria Marie Brown. Yes, actually just took a sip because I didn't want to be high, obviously, doing this. So I only took a sip just to keep my mouth a little moist. So when I finish with you guys, I'm going to go back and finish my drink. And I think I have, let me see, I think I have strawberry daiquiri here as well. So I'm going to drink that, relax myself. I had a kind of tough day after work, not at work, but after work before I came on with you guys. So, the devil's a liar. The devil's try to get to me, but I said no. I have the show here with you guys, which is very uplifting for me. So I appreciate you guys for coming on, because I get to do what I enjoy doing. The show tonight definitely helped me learn, helped me figure out certain things too. I still, strongly feel that I do want to live with someone, but for me, I don't have that someone yet. So when I get to that, I would definitely let you guys know. Thank you, Tiana. Thank you, Adrian, again. Hey, Deb. I was on my college boo. How you doing, girl? Again, I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Malik, for saying that as well. Good speaker. And I'm just here. I appreciate, again, you guys for sharing your thoughts. Please, if you have anything else to say, I would like you to still comment, because I'm sure there are people on here or people watching who still need some advice and help with this, because it is a struggle. People look at the religious aspect too. They're worried if they're going to look bad amongst their friends and family if they're living with this person. And I don't feel like people should be frowned upon or shamed on just because they decide to live with someone to see if this is someone that they want to marry. Because as soon as they, get married, everyone's going to be like, well, didn't you know this about this person? Then y'all go through the stages of getting to know each other. You didn't know he had this or criminal history and all that. Or you didn't know she was crazy like that. All these things. And a lot of times you don't figure these things out until you are living in the same household with that person. So please don't shame other people. Look at everyone's individual situations for what it is. Don't judge from, what you experience or what you see on TV, because you never know. No one ever knows what's going on in the household between those two people. Everyone has their reasons why they do certain things. And as long as it, works for those two people, I feel like y'all need to just let those two people be happy with themselves, so that you and your significant other can enjoy what you guys are doing as well. So please try to always support each other. Try not to be so quick to judge what's going on with someone else, because you never know. You yourself might later be in that situation, and then you're going to wonder, wow, now I kind of know what it is that they were going through. Adrian says, the elders are the book, but it's 2016. Have to be proactive when dealing with people. Yeah, I very much agree with that. Adrian always has her good points. She's been a great friend to me since 5th grade, is it? So I don't want to say how long ago that was. I did get my age though, but it's been a while, so she's always been there. I appreciate you for coming on. She's been on for my previous show, and of course tonight. So thank you guys. I'm about to sign off again. I don't know what time it is. I'm just, here talking to you guys because I enjoy it. I don't get to see you guys in person all the time, so I really appreciate having you guys here connecting with me. So again, next Monday, please tell your friends and family to subscribe to my Facebook Live, Quadria Marie Brown. Please follow me on my Scholar Media on Twitter and Instagram, as well as my Facebook page, facebook.com/Scholar Media. I'm also on YouTube under Quadria Marie Brown, and you can follow my personal page on Instagram and here at Quadria Marie. Thank you again, hun. This is no problem. I love this. Have a great night, and great night to all of you out there. I will be posting other things that I have coming up. I have some more shooting, not shooting like that with a gun, but shooting as in filming coming up as well for a TV show that I'm working on. Shout out to P150E for that. It was a great Thomas. So Positive Impact is coming to you guys soon. And have a good night. Bye.